Rabbit, Rabbit. It's your boy Zap King, the Giant Robots. Welcome to 2025, everyone. It is with a heavy heart that I welcome you to this year's first tactical forecast. Many irons are having to come out of the fire. It's time. And as hard as it is to talk about, because I am already scatterbrained as it is, it must happen. But I want to let's keep things in order, as well as a special treat, as well as our annual wrap up, and then we will get to the heavy at the end of the video. In but a few hours, while I'm here at work listening to myself and checking the audio, in a few hours, we resume, as has been every day, Super Robot Wars OGs. This will continue to happen Monday through Thursday at noon local time. I have to get out of the habit of saying central. Noon local time for me. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, we have Gundam Breaker 4, also at noon. We'll be having a schedule change now that many projects have started to wrap up. The Archipelago is done. However, Shadow Hearts 2 with the Flightless Bird will continue. We stream this on the weekends, ideally every Saturday and Sunday. For the time being, that's going to be 10 p.m. Nope, I may as well say it while I'm still here. 10 p.m. Central Time, we will stream Shadow Hearts 2 for a few hours. The episodes will upload every even-numbered day at 3 p.m. The biggest schedule change is the release of Satisfactory. Rather than having episodes and hour-long bits come out every other day, myself and Steve from Super Retro Theater stream Satisfactory Thursday morning, approximately 7 a.m. Central Time. And now I have to go and actually check what time I started. The VOD will be coming out in full stream sessions. Let's see, when did I schedule the first one? Because I know I have it uploaded. At 9 a.m. Friday. There may become a crossover, a point in time where you may very well be able to see the VOD for Satisfactory the day after it was recorded. You know, if things get to a crisis mode, and things may one day get to a crisis mode, I hope to not let that happen, but we will address that momentarily. So let me run it back real quick, because I am terribly unfocused, more so than usual. The playlist was supposed to stick to one song. Monday through Thursday at noon Central Time, Original Generations. We're playing the Kyosuke route that is set to wrap up on the 30th. So, perfect timing, end of January. Ideally, the end of Kyosuke's route, the end of OG1 through OGs. Gundam Breaker 4 continues until the end, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at noon Central Time. Shadow Hearts 2 every even-numbered day at 3 p.m. Streams occurring at 10 p.m. Central Time on Saturdays and Sundays. Satisfactory every Friday morning at 9 a.m. But the streams will occur every Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Now, going forward, we have a bit of the review. I want to do the year in review next before I cut in with the next bit. Well, that's certainly not the screen that I want. Oh, that's the Just Talking screen. It's on top of everything we did. That's fine. In the year of 2024, many games were played and defeated. Some games were good. Some games were bad. Some games, for some reason, are bad but popular, as is the case with Front Mission 2. Somehow, Episode 1 continues to be one of my most viewed videos on the channel, and I think it is accidentally because of the title of the episode. How do I do AP? Sounds like it would be a tutorial video. It is not. It is the beginning of a Let's Play of a game that was not good. Like, it was bearable, but it got to the beginning was rough, the middle was blah, the end was double blah until Crash King Central. Like, I went on a month hiatus to finish the game hoping for a patch, when it was just, no, replay part of the stage but different. Even that sucked. That was just, and you know, popular opinion seems to be that the remake is bad. It's just bad. It's not as good as the first one. I still get comments, I still get views. Every week that YouTube says, here's your weekly analytics. Front Mission 2 Episode 1 was your most viewed video. Every once in a while a short will go over it. Speaking of, I do shorts. They come out at 12:15 every Tuesday. Check them out if you like shorts. If you want a highlight of something that happened. Front Mission 2, bad. We continued Alpha on Dreamcast. That was good. I enjoyed that. I appreciate the niche of the obscure Alpha games. Plus, your boy had to publish a translation guide for the Nerve Route, which did not exist on the PlayStation version. So McNoodleman, who at the time of recording still has the popular monopoly of Super Robot Wars translation guides on GameFAQs. I know there are other resources, but I do not know how to source those other resources just yet. But I enjoyed the hell out of Alpha DC. That was a fun play on the Dreamcast. Our first archipelago with the boys. Ring Stabity, and Steve of Super Retro Theater, whom, you know, that's how they get a seat at my table. We played our first archipelago together. I played Super Evermore. That was incredibly fun. Super fun. I loved it. And then I also played my first randomizer. I think the reason why Doom of Super Evermore is before is because recorded and wrapped that up before I had finished, or maybe it was just the upload situation, I forget, because wait, no, hold on, I wrote dates. Let's see, the SMZ3 Rando started on March 22nd. I recorded it in February and it ended on March 22nd. The first archipelago was recorded at the end of February but wrapped up March 14th. That's how it got in that order. Still, that was a fun rando. Expect, mayhap, sometime in 2025 to see SMZ3 again. Due to the nature of download-only video games on consoles, and I prefer actual hardware, we played Super Robot Wars, Super Robot Wars OG: The Dark Prison. That was, I'm not going to say it was fun, but it was certainly an interesting challenge to have to play an OG style Super Robot Wars with such a limited team and limited resources. Not the most fun, but certainly interesting as fun. A second Archipelago wrapped up before the rest. Mystic Kong DX, again with the boys. More Archipelago. I had less fun with this one because it was an action platformer and everything comes down on my part to execution. And when your boy has a skill issue, there is nothing holding you back except for skill issue. Fun to play with the boys, not fun to play by yourself. But I think we did it in one setting. I think this was the one where we all more or less did it in one sitting. I remember I took a break, but because it was Mystic Quest and Link's Awakening DX, that was like the weird one and done one night. And then the uploads just took even longer. I got my revenge for the first time on Final Fantasy on the WonderSwan. It wasn't any better than the first time around giving it a go, but it was still good to get back at it and take that weight upon my soul and toss it aside. One day I may return to Final Fantasy 1 because there are so few games on the Archipelago that I would want to interact with, and I think amongst the list of things to do until they add more games is an Archipelago of us playing games that we really don't like, that we really don't want to play. And I think Final Fantasy 1 on the NES is at the top of that list. Continuing with DLC only Super Robot Wars content, we played Z3 Continuous Prison, or Rengoku Hen, on the PS3. Now, I had played this originally when I got the DLC, when Z3 Part 2 had come out. I played it, so it was a New Game Plus situation for me. Perfectly fine and valid. I managed to let that sneeze slip out. I thought I had caught it before, or I thought I hit the mute button before it came out, but nope, alas, alack. Allergies, man. Allergies. Allergies at the time of recording, at least. But that was a good revisit. It's a shame that there's not going to be any reason for me to play it a third time when it comes time to conquest through all of the Z series. Tactics Ogre Reborn. A gift from your boy Steve. I finally got around to it after he'd gotten it for me for either Christmas or birthday the year before. But we got there, and I enjoyed it. It was fun to play. I got to do one of the two big tasks in the game that I'd wanted to do back on the PSP release. However, once we hit end game, aka story mode ending credits number 1, I put it on the shelf, and we do fully plan to return to Tactics Ogre this year. Valkyrie Profile, Covenant of the Plume. This was the first game that I've ever done a crossover Let's Play with someone. So, as much as Bird and I had been playing games together, it was mostly me co-hosting on his side. I co-hosted with him Parasite Eve 1, Parasite Eve 2, and Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. And I think it was after we had finished Parasite Eve 2, that the plan was to go ahead and go into Valkyrie Profile and play it together. He did the first initial route, and then I did a second route, which would technically have been on, like... No. He did the first route, and then I did another route, but also, like, brand new fresh data. And then he went and did the third option after a New Game Plus. And I had to go through and rampage through both other stories so that I could get to the Seraphic Gates. But it was something, it was a sort of Let's Play that I had seen done on another channel before, years and years ago. I forget what channel it was, but I saw two guys actually share a data file to go between chapters of Tactics Ogre on the PSP, or maybe it was chapters of Final Fantasy Tactics. I genuinely forget which, but it was certainly a fun playthrough, and we did carry on the name and a lot of bits. The naming bit. The third archipelago. Is that the third? Yes, the third archipelago. Legacy of the Ancient Yoshi. Once again, fun archipelago with the boys. That's all that needs to be said about it. It was just fun archipelago with the boys. Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes finally dropped in 2024. I have a physical copy somewhere at this point for the PS4 version, but those load times were so bad even after a patch to fix them that I just went ahead and started playing it on PC instead. If you go back and watch the Let's Play, I do denote what console each episode is on. But it was pretty early that I decided to make the switch. Our fourth archipelago was the Golden Triangle, wherein the three of us chose to rotate and pick a game that one of the others had already played before. And it just so happened that we had like rotated perfectly. I picked Stab's game 2, Stab picked Stab picked Steve's game 3, and Steve picked my... No, that's not how that worked. I picked Stab's game 1, which was Yoshi, which was Super Mario World. Stab picked my game 2. No, Stab picked Steve's game 2, which was the Link's Awakening DX. And Steve picked my game 3, which was the Ancient Cave. I had fun. It was certainly interesting. A lot of weird things happened. And then I had to go and support Steve through the end of his Ancient Cave because he was miserable. Throughout the journey of 2024, Steve and I played through Stardew Valley version 1.6. Eventually, I think we were prepared for a third year, but the game ended at the end of year 2, or the start of year 3. It's like, you know what? We've done it. We still managed to get a 4-star score, or a 4-torch score, or Grandpa loved us at the end, and that's all that matters. But speaking of Steve, we also played one of his favorite RPGs, and my first RPG and full Let's Play and long-term interaction with an actual Sega Genesis game, Phantasy Star 4. It was good. It suffers, from the signs of its times, and I ran into a few hiccups, mostly in the way that the Sega Classics collection interacted with me having to make save states, and the way it would stop capturing or that was weird. Flightless Bird and I played Shadow Hearts. He was generous enough to actually ship me his copies of Shadow Hearts and Shadow Hearts 2 so I could play it on real hardware. And I still have them in my possession as of this current time of crisis. But I enjoyed Shadow Hearts. That was actually a lot of fun for a game that I remember touching for like an hour? I swear at some juncture in my life I had played the game, but I played it so briefly that it just didn't matter that I had played it. At this juncture, when we started playing the original generation, I was also a guest on mecha-themed podcast Giant Robot FM, where I had spent generous amounts of dollars for the hosts to review an object of my choosing. And I chose for them to review the original generation's OVA, which at the time was the first animated piece of Super Robot Wars media, and did not have a game parallel until Original Generations had come out on the PlayStation 2. So I decided to coincide with me sounding like I knew what I was talking about. I started playing Original Generations, and Generation 2. I dabbled in all three as preparation for the podcast. And then I stuck through, and we are currently on a conquest of OG 1-2s, the 1s and 2s. This year, for Halloween, I chose to play 2 games. The ending of minigames wrapped up just right that I decided to start 2 games before going on an actual, like, real hiatus, a break, a pause. Only for me to wish I hadn't done so right now. But we started Alyssa right before Halloween. It was a game I touched upon release in 2021, and I was playing it wrong. And then after the end of the first episode, I scared some of my viewers, some of my friends who thought I wasn't going to play it anymore. No, there was just that weird 2-week hiatus I took between Halloween and my birthday. It was nice to take a break though. But yes, we did eventually clear up Alyssa in November. It was actually not. I knew I was writing down when and how I felt about games, but then I stopped writing it down. But I was at least still keeping up with the order of thumbnails, because we also played the obscure SNES horror, air quotes, RPG, Laplace's Demon. It was based on a PC engine, or just PC RPG, which that in itself was also based on pen and paper RPG, I believe. It's a weird RPG, saying that word a lot here, in that you don't have to fight. Matter of fact, minimal fighting is preferred, because oh boy, do you not get a whole lot out of fighting. You want to fight? Sure, go ahead. You can build your team to do it. That's not where you get XP though. But it was very much one of the RPGs of all time. It is good to experience, bad to finish, because the game itself wasn't properly completed during development. Also, during the month of October into November, I co-hosted Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass, and I think between this and like starting way back on Covenant of the Plume, Bird streams on his YouTube channel on Fridays, but he allows me to host him and he and I, our video games, on the weekends when we stream. So this was my 2.5 time going through Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass, and it's always fun to watch somebody else go through something and react to stuff that they don't expect to happen. And there's a lot of dark stuff. It was just unfortunate that Bird had also started playing Omori at the same time. That poor man, that poor penguin, that poor flightless bird. And the last completed Let's Play of 2024 was the 5th archipelago, Doom Rush Cyberstar. Doom 2, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, and Mario and Luigi's Superstar Saga. We did the bit of Nepu Shippu Cyberstar, or Cyberstar, depending on certain localizations. Having played not Jet Set, but Bomb Rush the year before, and then playing it again so soon after, it was kind of blah. Like, I think I said at one point while we were like during the second. I'm sorry. I said at some point during the second session of episodes that we had gotten to do together that playing it again was kind of mid. It was more there for me to play with them as opposed for me to experience something. Like, I thought I was going to have more fun, but then it was just tedious. Alas and alack. But I don't think this will show anything. Nope, that's just a blank screen. Alright. We'll bring this up. And what can I do? Oh, nope, we just blank screen. Just like that. Alright, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. I'm going to take a break talking at this very moment of juncture. And what you're going to get is pre-recorded footage from sometime back mid-October. So, behold, the wheel of indecisiveness. It's your boy over here at the Wheel of Games, the Wheel of Indecisiveness, also better known as the 2025 Game Forecast. This is a little bit of something that I've been doing in the background by myself because I have such a large list of games that I want to play or should play or have been heavily recommended that friends assure me that's good. I want to make a bit of a show out of deciding what games we are very likely to see here in the coming of 2025. Now, already there are 2 games at the very top of the list that will be coming up after we wrap up Gundam Breaker 4. And that's going to be Tactics Ogre Reborn, continuing with that. I've been meaning to go back into that through the New Game Plus sort of thing and do the other routes and the other alignments. And there's been setup for that. And I still haven't done the final objective that I've been wanting to accomplish in that game since it came out on the PSP. Following that, whenever it is that it so happens to drop, the Ayuden Chronicle DLC. When that comes out, that comes out. Following that also as well, now that I think about it, the Suikoden remasters. I'll definitely play through 1 and 2, and like I did back on the patched version, it's one of my first Let's Plays early in my YouTube career. I'm not going to do 108 stars. I'm going to be discerning and very rude. Return of Rude Boy. Challenge ensue. And lastly, the only other game that I can think of at the top of my mind that should be coming out in 2025 is Front Mission 3 Remastered. Whatever state that comes out in, I've seen the trailer. I thought the trailer looked fine, and it's not in the trailer that exists is not indicative of the final product. That's not here's what's coming out in 2 weeks. No, there's time to work on that. And I believe that now that they put that out there, and maybe they listen to the fans over there at Forever Entertainment or whichever dev is actually working on it. Maybe they listened, maybe they'll fix it. But now that said, we get to the other stuff that's already filled in. Well, no, we'll get to that when we get to that. For now, let's rotate the board of 70-something games to see what comes next. On the list, a game that I have touched before in a What Is? Daemon Ex Machina. I will probably start that game over, which is fine by me. You know, that way we're going into it as a full Let's Play, not as a check it out and see if it vibes with me. That, followed by Magic Knight Ray Arch on the Super Nintendo. I forget which one of these got a... I feel like this got a translation patch sometime in the last couple of years. Now I do have the Saturn version also on the list. I'd have to bust out the Saturn, but we do have that ripped to a disc. So let's put that on the list. Now, the parts that were filled in. Here. This is just already the next Super Robot War that we're getting into. And I wanted to include those on this list as well, because sometimes those I can't decide on what to play next. So, at least coming up once we finish OG1 via OGs, we will jump into OG2 on the GBA, and then follow that up with OGs Part 2 through OGs. It only makes sense. That way I have those incidents fresher in mind. Now, the next video game. Dual Orb on the Super Pretendo. Now, some of these games have been on the list for so long that I don't remember what's going on with them, but it's been recommended, and it looks good, it looks fine, so we will investigate. Not what is, but we will investigate Dual Orb 2. Following that, Xenogears. Oof, that's going to take the whole rest of the year. I know I have the PS1 discs around. I'm certain that I also have it on the PlayStation 3. I don't know what I'll do, but I'll figure that out when it comes time. I'm certain we have the discs for sure. And if we don't have the discs, then we will play it on the PlayStation 3. I know I've got that sitting somewhere. Now, looking at these themselves, that will probably take the rest of the year, but you never know, and it's fun to keep spinning the wheel. We'll see. Hell, I did Alyssa recently, and that was only 7 parts. Saga 3, or Final Fantasy Legend 3. There is a pack that has all the first 3 Saga games, and Final Fantasy Legend 3 was a game that I grew up on, and I would love to replay that one again. Like, I chose that over Final Fantasy Adventure because it sure did get me on that Final Fantasy branding. Oh, Final Fantasy on the Game Boy, I'll play that. It wasn't Final Fantasy 3 like I was hoping for at the time. 3 was 6. You know, it was the 90s. Spin that wheel. That's still so... Why did that text end up so small? Now, this is a game that, once again, I wanted to play way back when I started, And I've always it is probably one of the games that's been on my list of shit to play for the literal longest, if not the longest game that's been on my list. Good to see that come up. Now, over here, on a whole new screen, are all the tactical mecha games that I have on the list. Now, it is 90% Super Robot Wars, but as you can kind of see, little bits and pieces on your left side: Cyber Knight, Robo Daikessen, Zone of the Enders, Fist of Mars. There are other games on here. I will still call those Super Robot Wars. Alright, so the next intended Super Robo game, after we finish OG2 after we finish OG2 through OGs, let's get into Get a Robo. Now, I don't think that there's any sort of translation for this game whatsoever, but I have the disc and I have a strategy guide, so I can at least get through the game even if I don't know what's going on. Alright, back to the regular spin. Terra Enigma. Now, I had done the spin, this wheel, in the first take and realized I was doing things very wrong and very weirdly. I forgot information. But I've heard very good things about this. There is a podcast out there, Retrograde Amnesia, very well known for their massive coverage on Xenogears. But they've also covered in their Patreon exclusive content Terra Enigma, and that sounds great. Will I play the other two games, Soul Plays or Illusion of Gaia? I don't know, but Terra Enigma is on the list. I want to kind of take a second, and I want to highlight. Can I highlight without breaking things? Oh, that with that color correction, that looks hideous. Oh, that's unreadable. That's also not good. What does that do? Okay, yeah. We can highlight that as pink. Yeah, that makes Super Robot Wars stand out. There we go. And this doesn't count as a Super Robot War. But you know what? It is robots, so we can put it up there as Super Robot War. Anyway, we spun another game that showed up on the test recording, Saga Frontier 2. Now, this is one of those games that I came up on as a child, and I know I've beaten it, but that doesn't mean I understood it. The mechanics and the story presentation stick out, but I don't remember how things resolve. And I thought about that some months ago, and was like, yo, put that on the list. Back here on the Super Robot wheel. The next Super Robot War will be a field trip. Now, I'm pretty sure I have a patched file for this. I'm fairly certain I have a patched version of this. But testing, it requires testing to make sure it's going to work. The regular spin, where you can see two colors squished together. Ha! A game from my boy Troy. We go back to farming. Back to farming. I have a cartridge for this. It's one of the few games that I've bought a replica box for, because I have the cart, but I never had a box for it. I never had a manual. Spin it again. Chrono Cross. This is just something that I've been itching to play again. But I am presently, and I have been still, undecided if I'll play the original, which I have on PS3, or if I'll play the remaster, remake, HD, upscale, whatever that thing is on PC. I have access to all versions of Chrono Cross. The next Super Robot War. Hell yes. Now, I typed this note because this has also been on my mind. MX Portable and MX on the PlayStation 2 are only slightly different. I hear that like there's a couple of extra stages, and I think maybe some events or secrets occur differently from Portable to PlayStation 2. We may, like I did with Compact, do a comparison of MX Portable and MX. This is undecided. Let's find out in the future. Next up. A fan patch for Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy IV Ultima. I've wanted to play Final Fantasy IV again, but I want to play it different. Why? I just like to play things different. Now, hopefully, this won't be a flop and a folly the way that Final Fantasy VI Legends of the Crystals was, but that loss came differently? Yeah, that loss came differently. That was like a double loss. Like, I have the cartridge for Final Fantasy VI Legend of the Crystals, or whatever that subtitle was that changed things. It's an ancient story, but data was lost, so the game was given up on. But I have no intentions for revenge on that one. I'm Gucci. And then, actually, this is something that I do have plans for. Now, the Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster. I want to do my own funny variant on Fiesta. It's less of a Fiesta and more of more of just like a personal challenge. It is a wheel to force me to change jobs at every recording according to the jobs that I have available at that time, so that I have to think differently and I can't just like no-brain it through the game using the best or what I like. Force me to think and challenge myself. The next Super Robot War. Just slid just past the tactical game on Sega. It's time for Scramble. Commander. And this appears to be... Yep, this is the first game on there that has a plus numeral? Or a plus symbol. What the fuck, numeral? A plus symbol wherein that means that by default, the following game becomes Scramble Commander 2. So just to fill out this list, let's give the regular wheel 2 more spins. A game I have never touched. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Hell yeah, let's go. What do I need to say about it? It's good. And then a game at Steve's suggestion. And I've seen that Steve on his channel, Super Retro Theater, has played Metal Max Returns on the PlayStation version. It's like PS1 or PS2. I'll check it out on the Super Nintendo. But that said, we now have a full list of plans and intentions for 2025. Now I'm going to leave my two lists alone, my two major lists that I keep on the background. But I will have a new entry, a list of these games. That way I've noted what games in 2025 I should be playing. We will return to Tactics once. Let me point this out. First, none of these games affect what I'm playing with Steve of Super Retro Theater and a Flightless Bird. Those games are going to be completely separate and will appear on their respective channels when they do. Once we wrap up with Gundam Breaker 4, which is already, or as of recording this, many months in advance. Not many months, just a couple of months. It's here in the middle of November. As of recording this, once, if not already, once Gundam Breaker 4 is wrapped up, we move into Tactics Ogre Reborn. We're going to get that New Game Plus content out of the way. And if the Ayuden Chronicle DLC has come out, we will get into that. Whenever it is that the Suikoden Remasters come out, we will get into those. They will interject. I might even let those interrupt a Let's Play. Same going for Front Mission 3. I will probably continue to play them on the Switch, since that is going to be the version that most likely comes out first. I think Nintendo has like exclusivity for like several months. And then, whenever these games do not get in the way of something, or rather, whenever these three games do not get in the way, next up, after Tactics Ogre, would be Daemon X Machina, followed by Magic Knight Raiders, Dual Orb, Xenogears, Final Fantasy Legend 3, or Saga 3, Need for Speed Underground 2, Terra Enigma, Saga Frontier 2, Harvest Moon 64, Chrono Cross, Final Fantasy IV The Ultima Fan Patch, Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster. Let's make that consistent. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, and unrelated Metal Max returns. Our next Super Robot War. Barring the release of, Front Mission 3, maybe that'll drop at the right time, who knows? Once we finish up the Kyosuke route in OG's 1, we'll switch to OG 2, and then cover that in OG's Part 2. Following that will be Getter Robo Daikesen. I don't know what's going on, but we're going to give it a go. The Slogfest, as I heard, of SRWOE. I am eager to get back to Radial Movement. Super Robot Wars MX. Portable. We may do a comparison like I did with Compact. We'll see. And then the Scramble Commander series. These are the plans for 2025. Now, depending on how long this list takes, why did OBS suddenly shift everything down? That was weird. I don't like that. What happened? That was unpleasant. OBS, don't do weird things like that. You're scaring me, dog. Hopefully that didn't ruin the recording. Oof. In any case, as I was trying to say, not barring, I lost my train of thought because OBS did something funky. if I don't get through this list in 2025, the entire remainder of the list gets scrubbed, and we spin the wheel once again come December 2026. This list is subject to change depending upon suggestions from friends and releases of new games that I am not aware of. Let's get back to ya boy in the present state, wrapping up our 2024 gaming and forecasting coverage. Welcome back. The music has to change because we have to talk about more unfortunate subjects. And the first time I tried this moments ago, I was just way too scatterbrained and like including more details just because I want to get it off my chest. Sometime in 2025, I will be relocating. Due to an unfortunate sequence of events and unfortunate timing by way of those events, I have to pack, and most of my things need to be packed away as of 2 days ago, or January 30th. Not January, December 30th. That is greatly interfering with my ability to record and the preferred upload rate that I would like to have. Without getting into too many details, what this means for you, the viewer, on YouTube, maybe even on Twitch, is that despite the schedule that I think I'm going to have, despite the upload schedule that I have laid out on my calendar, some games may stop just because I don't have time right now. I'm taking time to have this video ready for the beginning of next year, but as of the second, I am behind where I prefer to be. I am 5 days behind, technically. But just because some games will fall behind, which is currently Super Robot Wars is taking the hit to the schedule. Gundam Breaker is easier to record because that's a guaranteed 45 minutes to an hour. Fortunately, I've been spending a lot of time with Bird on the weekends, so Shadow Hearts won't have to take a hit to the team. Matter of fact, I've got enough Shadow Hearts to go for the entirety of this month. I've got enough, multi-hour VODs of Satisfactory to go for the entire month. But it's not the daily uploads that I prefer to have. It is not the schedule that I had to dedicate and keep myself to since the days that I was struggle recording and trying to get a video uploaded and recorded on the same day that I wanted to have it uploaded and recorded. But at some point, I will have to pack up and move. I don't know when that's going to be. That could be 1 month from now, 2, 3 months from now, 10 months from now. It's really, unfortunately, a sort of wait and see situation. Now, fortunately, I have plans. I have a good place to go with good people. And I don't have to give up a lot of my stuff. I just have to pack away. Matter of fact, I'm gaining a lot of things. My roommates and I are separating. But what that means is that because they are choosing to downsize on some of their things, I made the offer to buy up some of my roommates' consoles, the stuff that I know I will and want to record from in the future. The GameCube, I want that GameCube player so I can continue to play Super Robot Wars on original hardware with the Game Boy Advance player. The Sega Saturn, he had a collection of burned games. A lot of those are like mecha games. I will take his Saturn, his collection of games, which that also means I'm getting virtual on and actual sticks to play that on. The same for the Dreamcast. Is although all I wanted was the console, I'm going ahead. I'm going to take everything. I'll take the joystick, taking the keyboards. So hell, we could even play Typing of the Dead one of these days. You can hear the heavy clickety clack of actual Dreamcast keyboards that could have been used also for Phantasy Star Online. Ha 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 ha. I'm taking some of his things so that I can continue to do what I do. But I might be moving twice. I don't know yet. Fortunately, a very good friend. I'm moving in with a very good friend of mine. When that time comes, he has space for me, and then there will be a time when we will finally leave the state. When I know things, you will know things on at least the monthly update. I will hopefully be able to inform you then. If I don't have the time for that, like if it's a snap decision, it's time to finally go. Check the community the community posts. There's also following me on Blue Sky. I have a Blue Sky that I've been trying to be more active on, even though right now it's a Therapy and Cry blog. That would be, I believe. Ooh, I actually don't remember. I have to check real quick. What is my name on Blue Sky? My name on Blue Sky is Ace Zappa, no underscore. Because you can't have an underscore on Blue Sky. So you can follow me on Blue Sky for updates. I'll repost and reblog some mecha stuff. I get shouted out by Giant Robot FM every now and again. I'll try to post updates there, you know? I want to try to be more active on a social... excuse me, that's a hiccup. A social media basis. If you don't want to follow me there, you're already here watching me on YouTube. Like I said, the community tab I will keep the community informed when and if it is time for me to relocate, or if there has to be like a significant fall behind or lack of uploads on certain days in order for me to get caught up. Follow me on Twitch, Ace_Zappa, where, as I said in the first half of this video, you can see me on Thursday mornings at 7 a.m. with Super Retro Theater playing Satisfactory. You can catch me on Saturday and Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. playing Shadow Hearts 2 with the Flightless Bird. And most of the time that I'm recording an episode, I do my best to go live as well. So any given day of the week, somewhere around 9 to 10 a.m., stream for an hour, maybe 2 if I have the time. You can catch me recording live Gundam Breaker 4 or Super Robot Wars. You can come and yell at me about giant robots there and then. But I'll be okay. But I haven't felt happy in a few days. I hate moving. Like, I will say it and scream it to the top of my lungs. I hate moving. I hate moving. I hate moving. I hate moving. And I had thought that this would be the place that I would more or less spend the rest of my life. And unfortunately, it is not. But, you know, depending on your religious outlook, the will of the cosmos God, Christ, Ganesh, Thor, Zeus, Odin, like whoever it is that you look up to as a higher power deity, they have chosen that it's time for me to relocate. And as much as I don't want to do the whole process of moving and relocating, I'm going to be with good people. I'm probably going to be with better people. It's just hard. But this will ideally be the only video where you have to experience me moaning, groaning, crying, and sulking about. We'll pull through this together. We have each other. Like Bird says, you are matter, you are cherished, and you are loved. And more importantly, what Shinji needed to know for his whole anime career, you are not alone. No parentheses, no bit, no gag. You are not alone. I'm here with you. You're here with me. And there's always going to be someone else there with you, even if they're not standing right there beside you. Have a great 2025, everyone. Good night, Space Nerds.
All combat is over. Now that you've tasted victory, I'm sure you'll be back.